What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and today we have our final episode before the Jets go on to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals in search of their first win of the season. Yes, the Jets are 0-7 right now, the only winless team still in the NFL, and it has been a very tumultuous week, right? Especially highlighted by the comments owner Woody Johnson had to say about Justin Fields. But now that we are getting on to the actual game, let's start like we usually do on a Friday with the injury report. Here are some of the Jets that missed some practice this week. I do want to talk about some positive notes first. The Jets activated Quincy Williams off IR. He practiced in full for some of the week, so we could be on the verge of getting Quincy Williams back, and we know he is a Pro Bowl caliber player to add to this defense, which is improving in all of the drama with the quarterback position so far this week. One of the things that was kind of complicating things was that Tyrod Taylor has a knee injury, okay? And Aaron Glenn talking about the competitive advantage. Maybe part of this is because we don't know if Tyrod Taylor is actually going to be up, and they may have to go back to Justin Fields, right? Other Jets, obviously, we know Garrett Wilson working his way back from the knee injury. Sauce Gardner and Keeney Nwanu are in concussion protocol. Stone Smart, the tight end, with a quad. Jay Tufele, part of that defensive line rotation, is out as well. On the Bengals side, listen, we get a little bit lucky because Joe Burrow is still done with his turf toe, right? Joe Flacco will be under center for the Bengals, but he's going to chuck it. He targeted Jamar Chase 23 times in their last game, okay? So the pass defense, which has been improving but could be without Sauce Gardner, is going to be tested. The Bengals don't have much of a run game. They do have Chase and Higgins and Flacco, who is not afraid to sling it, all right? So those are kind of some of the injuries. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, and listen, we're 0-7, right? And we've talked about this week how I still have faith. It sounds like Woody Johnson still has faith in Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji and this kind of rebuild. I want to once again give you a little bit of context because if you think about it, since Glenn and Muji have taken over, they have acquired, drafted, found a lot of guys that I think have the ability to be impact players and real pieces for us going forward. Remember all over the summer, we were talking about how Muji and Glenn were intentional about who they wanted in the building. Well, maybe Justin Fields isn't long for being in this building, but don't let that take away. And of course, quarterback is the most important player, right, on the field. I get it. But don't let that take away from the fact that I actually think this regime has been successful. They are the second youngest roster in the NFL, and they have found a lot of people. Think about the draft. Membu, Mason Taylor, Azareye'h Thomas, Malachi Moore, Kiko. These are all guys that look like they belong. That's 5 in a draft. Think about the trade for a guy like Juwan Briggs, who's really young in his second year. Jarvis Brownlee looks like a guy. I keep on talking about Austin McNamara, who has been absolutely, a beast on special teams. And I highlight Malachi Moore, who has started the last couple of weeks, posted his second straight game of an over 70 PFF grade, made the NFL rookie team of the week. So I say that to mean, listen, those are 8 guys right there that are new to this roster that look like they're going to be players, that look like they belong. Think about it. We do have other talent. I know everybody is really down on the Jets right now, but the Jets have other talent. Think about it. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, guys like Jamian Sherwood, Quinnen and Quincy Williams, guys on the offensive line, right? Another 2 or 3 or 4. That's another, 8, 9 guys combined with 8 guys they have found. Now you're starting to get a roster that is talented. Think about some other guys that they've developed, I think, as well. Guys like Brandon Stevens, who didn't look great early on, but is coming on now. Olufashanu, who is coming on these days as well. So I think, obviously, as we continue to build this roster, let's have patience and then get the quarterback right. Hopefully, that is part of a recipe. But I do want to acknowledge that I actually think Glenn and Muji have found a lot of guys. Now, I know the fan base is not happy, and quite frankly, here is an alum, a former Jet, a big-time former Jet that does in fact agree. I'm talking about former safety Victor Green. He has been active on social media lately, first posting after the lost to Carolina. He goes, Jets fans, I'm with all of you. You have valid opinions. 0-8, he meant 0-7, isn't what I envisioned either. I knew it would take some time, but not this start, though. But I still stand behind AG. I think there are changes that must be made, players and coaches. I won't go into it here, but I feel you. He posts again this week and says, fans loud and proud. I bleed green and white until the day I die. I know, like a lot of you, I'm gonna stay committed. We've been bad for so long, we gotta come up. I don't know when that is. Hopefully, we get a glimpse of it this year. I love your passion. Reasons to be pissed. And here's the thing. I think he's right. In terms of staying behind Aaron Glenn. I just told you about some of the talent that we found and have developed. I think he's right in terms of needing to stay committed. I talk about it here on Jets Latest all the time. And by the way, subscribe to this Jets Latest channel if you also, like me, like Victor Green, bleed green and white. If you have been waiting for this rebuild, I still do believe. And the other part of it is, remember when Woody Johnson talked about Justin Fields earlier in the week? He also kind of did express praise or confidence in Aaron Glenn, right? Saying that he was turning around parts of the team, that he talks to him every day. So I'm telling you, people that think Aaron Glenn is going to be one and done, it ain't going to happen, okay? And I don't think it should. I think trying to build the culture, trying to build the baseline, bringing in the right people in the building have actually helped. There is some reason to look at, and hopefully throughout the second part of the season, we can continue to see guys like a Mason Taylor, like a Malachi Moore, like a Brandon Stevens, right? Like a Jarvis Brownlee, continue to develop and feel like maybe we do have something. It ain't going to happen in 2025, but if Justin Fields isn't the answer, right, we build around it, and then hopefully we get a franchise quarterback, whether it's high up in the draft next year, whether it's by some kind of acquisition, and then we really hit the ground running sometime soon, all right? That'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. Remember, as always, watch these videos, like these videos, subscribe to the Jets Latest channel, tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend. If you want to become a Jets Latest insider, click on that link right there. You'll get access to exclusive content, all sorts of other perks as we go through the season. But speaking of people that I appreciate helping to build this channel, regulars on this channel, let's see what you have to say. George Alston, 1933, says, Fields received a fair shot and a lot of support from AG, and he knows that. Johnson is supporting and giving AG and Muji an opportunity to implement the program and reboot the organization for good or bad. I hope for the good. The process continues. Then he goes into guys like Mendoza, Simpson. These are kind of high up on the board quarterbacks in the draft. Mendoza is the kid out of Indiana. Simpson is the kid out of Alabama. We have time, and we will get into that to be sure. We have time. Let's see how the rest of the season goes. And that's why I highlight some of these guys like a Mason Taylor, like a Membu. You know, like, let's see a little bit more of a Zaire Thomas, right? Kiko looked good now that even Quincy is coming back at the linebacker level. Joe, K2 6Q says, you are right about Sauce, because I talked about the hate going too far on Sauce earlier in the week. He says, but if I'm an OC, I target him 8 times, and then let's see how good he is. Listen, part of it is they don't target him because the league knows how good he is. So, I mean, listen, if people want to target him, that's why I wanted to see him against Jamar Chase this week, right? And then at BSF Low says, Woody is the problem. And that's always interesting. You know, Cowboys fans say that about Jerry Jones. Yankees fans used to say that about George Steinbrenner. But guess what? You can fire the coach, you can bench the quarterback, you can fire a GM. You can't fire the owner. So even if we think Woody is the problem, that ain't changing, all right? So continue to keep them coming. You know I love engaging with all the comments. You can find me on social media at Spittin' Speeds. And if you want to hear more from me, you know that I am the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on SiriusXM, Channel 87. Hopefully your fantasy team is doing better than the Jets at 0-7, but I've got great insights for you there. That's how I came into this work. Fantasy sports, sports betting, and FTN Fantasy is a great website. I'm talking rankings, I'm talking data set tools, I'm talking waiver wire tools, wide receiver cornerback matchup tools. I'm talking about in sports betting, the prop shop, all sorts of edges and projections. You can check me out over there as well. Let's see if we get our first victory of the season on the road in Cincinnati. One thing I know for sure is after the weekend, I will be here to discuss everything that happened and how we can look forward for the Jets, Jets. Have a great weekend, everybody. For this episode of Jets Latest, we out of here. Peace.